So we're in 1961. This is the beginning of the swinging 60s.
Yes.
Arguably the coolest, most profound decade we've ever known.
Not just in your opinion.
Yeah.
It is said by historians that the 1960s was the definitive decade in the history of mankind.
Okay.
Because the advances in technology, the advances in medicine. My own sister, who was the nuns, the theatre sister, and worked with Christian Barnard, you know, for those heart operations. And, you know, it was a time of enormous excitement, so I hear.
But it's philosophy and thinking and sexual liberation.
Absolutely.
Music. And you missed it all.
Yeah.
You missed it all.
I missed it all.
Wow.
I didn't know what was happening because we never got newspapers, news, nothing.
So tell us about the very first day. So you didn't just go in cold. You actually did a sort of trial period.
Yeah.
Tell us about that first time, a retreat. Because you could have walked away then.
Oh, I could.
Yeah.
It was January. It was about 2 feet of snow. So that meant there were hardly any guests staying in the lovely guest house there. And I sort of stood in front of the door and thought, oh, what am I doing, you know? Because I could have walked away then, and nobody would have known. But then again, neither would I. That was the thing. And I needed to know. And I never felt, ever since my father died, I never felt at home in that world of the late 1950s, early 60s. I didn't feel a citizen. But I didn't know what this city that I was entering could possibly be about. How can we ever know, you know?
That first day, it's cold, January, was it snowing?
The snow had just fallen. And I stood before the door with my finger poised over the bell. And what it happened, but the door suddenly opened and this monk dressed in brown called Alberic, who was a lovely man, a big smile from ear to ear, said, Patrick, we've been waiting for you. Come in. Oh. It's lovely and warm. And that was it.
Wow.
That moment.
Yeah.
So, in some way, I felt robbed because I never actually pressed the button. It was taken out my hands.
Knock and the door will open.
I know. And that week, it was timeless. I took my watch off. I'm not wearing a watch now. I took my watch off, and the day was delineated by one or two bells. One called Mary, one called Bernard, and everything was worked according to the bell. So you'd be working, the monks work. As soon as the bell went, they literally dropped it, went to the next thing, and so forth. And I decided to get up the same time as the monks, which was 2:15 in the morning, which was a shock to the system. I used to make my way through the...
Most people in Brighton are just going to bed.
Yeah, I know, still partying. And I made my way through and just sort of sat in this church, and this heavenly chant of 60 monks, just sat in an empty church. Because we used to go into a church for a service, saying prayers vocally, but there was nothing. There was nobody else but the monks. And they sang in Latin for an hour, and various readings in Latin, and then it ended, and then there was half an hour of just kneeling where they'd sung. And people think that prayer is asking, oh God, do this, oh God, please don't. It's not, it's kind of just being there. There was no audience. They were singing in an empty church, in the presence of some kind of power. I felt an overwhelming power. And the singing was beautiful. Just as in Brighton here, I can get up and go watch the sunrise at 5:15 and sit by the sea, and all you hear is the tide going in and out on the shale beach.
So you were sold?
Absolutely.
Sold.
Yeah, lock, stock, barrel.
Okay. What was the next step? You did your week retreat, your taster, as it were?
I was too young. 19 was too young.
Okay.
So he said, and there's another thing, you've got to go and learn Latin. Now, when he said that to me, I'd only got one O level in geography. So I wasn't clever. It was only a second in modern school. And I thought, learning Latin? I couldn't even speak French, but, you know, I could speak English and rubbish. You know, and so I had no linguistic skills whatsoever. So he said, yeah, you go away, learn Latin in London for a couple of years.
Yeah.
He said, we'd like to learn Greek. If you can manage some French and German, that would be a good thing. Oh, sure, a fine thing, eh? You know? And so I said, yeah, I'll do it. And London,
Wow.
I mean, I'd only been to London very briefly in 1951 at the Great Exhibition, ostensibly to see my sister. But London in 1961, whoa, you know, it's incredible.
It's almost a contradiction in terms, isn't it? Because you've gone to London to study Latin and Greek, and under the premise that you're going to enter a silent lifestyle, but you're in swinging London.
I know. No, I didn't do the swinging.
No.
You know, I mean, it was
there.
Well, it was a kind of it was like a monastic experience, that college.
And were you not tempted, let's say, to commit to a life of I don't know, not rather than going to the monastery, did you not see London as a kind of its own world, and were you not tempted by all of the stimulation of London and women and drink and...
No. I stopped drinking.
Okay.
I started drinking at a quite early age, and smoking.
Yeah.
So I stopped drinking and smoking, that was no problem.
Sorry, how old are you here now?
I am...
No, not now, I mean...
Yeah, 17. Coming on for 17.
Wow.
I was only 16 when I went to the monastery.
Wow.
That was in January. I was turned 17 in May. But, I mean, as I said, when I went there, there's this place called Osterley, Campion House. It was a college for late vocations. That is, a college for people too old to join what's called a seminary. That's a place where priests train for 6 years, or too stupid to actually go there and learn the Latin. So the 2 years were spent learning Latin to then spend 6 years trained to be a priest. But I was among the creme de la creme because the religious orders were very much a higher step, a higher level of existence. You know? I was the only one who planned to become, or felt called to become, a Cistercian. And in the order, in Cistercian, there's a hierarchy in the Catholic Church. A Benedictine or a Franciscan can become a Cistercian, but a Cistercian cannot become a Benedictine because that's a step lower.
Oh, yes.
So, you know, hierarchy is very important. You know thy place, you know,
Know thy place.
the glass ceiling. And
So you're talking about the shard now.
yes. So it was, it was a very privileged, and I don't remember any social life. I used to go to the Tate, the National Gallery, the British Museum, about once a fortnight. I used to cycle in because they'd hardly invented the car in 1961. So it was lovely to go and just to stand in front of meeting Picasso, Giacometti, wonderful artists. I'd never seen art like